first job was in Hinton supermarket, and I was on provisions, and I think I earned 30 bob for Friday night and Saturday.
That's £1.50 to you, dear.
My mother marched me round town and asked if they would employ her daughter. That was outside my comfort zone. I didn't want to be dragged around by my mother. But she was right. She was just being a bit proactive. And it was literally just going to that shop. And it wasn't CV, it was nothing like that. It was just do it. If you got a job, give us a job. If you got a job. And eventually George said, yeah. And I got a really awful turquoise sweaty overall. I was in.
I definitely think it's harder to get a job now these days than they were back then, because they didn't have to go for CVs or anything like that. They just went in, asked for a job, and if they had one or not, regardless of what you've done in your past or what you're doing, you'd get that job. It's so different now because you've got to write CVs, and if somebody's done something better or done something more than you, then they have more chance of getting the job.
My parents had an off licence, so I was actually brought up in an off licence. So I learnt how to count very quickly, and addition and takeaways, because people used to bring back their bottles, their empty bottles. I'd always worked and helped in my mum and dad's shop, and I started working in a bakery for 4 hours when I was 13. You weren't allowed to work any more than 4 hours, and I got £1.09 an hour, which is probably about 8.5p now. And it went up to half a crown. I was so excited, 12.5p an hour. So that's what I used to earn at the bakery.
12.5p an hour. What's now? Compared to now.
I left school at 14, started work the day after. If you went to a state school and you didn't have money, you left at 14 then. And if you had brains, which obviously I didn't have at the time, you stayed until you were 16 and you took exams, which obviously I wasn't academic.
My first job was in Lewis's department store in the shoe department, but that was after I'd been to college. And I enjoyed it because I've always loved shoes. It was way back in 67, 68, and the Miss Selfridge department was just opening in Lewis's. They were easier to find in those days, yes. Yeah. I had friends that went straight from school into banking and got very successful at that. And as I say, my career was cut short, shall we say.
Mine, different. Office job first. Was desperate to be a nurse. Unfortunately, couldn't stand the sight of blood. So I took a job at the LGI in the Brotherton wing as a receptionist.
It was totally different now. Now there's so many things for people that have babies and work. So much help. You didn't have child care and nurseries and all that. It was totally different. You stayed at home and that was it. Mothers didn't work then, in the 50s.
As I did say before, I could read and write before I went to school, so it was always a given. It was not pressure, it was just fact. You will go to university. Yeah, all right. Okay, it wasn't a drama. Well, I got a grant, and it's based on your parents' income, and you didn't have to pay any of it back. I cannot believe the amount of debt now that kids start off with. It is just, excuse me, but it is utter It really is. I can't believe it. That's one thing I really hate. I couldn't do it. I had fun at uni.
There's a lot more pressure because you need to achieve and get that good job so you can succeed in life. So there's a lot more pressure on, from family, from college tutors, I'd say.
There's more pressure to actually complete uni as well. You can't just start it and then stop, because then you'll have the debt and you need a job to pay it off.
Now you got to bring out loans, and it's your first loan, so you're quite scared, and you're going into a field full of fog because you don't know what it's going to be like, and you just got to rely on, people with experience, really.
I think getting a job these days isn't easy. Getting apprenticeships isn't easy. Whereas back when I was growing up, apprenticeships, were 2 a penny. And we've lost an awful lot of people in the trades. There's not the same amount of apprenticeships to train people to be plumbers and electricians and builders. And we need them.
See, I'd rather go for the physical work than the mental.
I think a lot of young people go for the easier option. They don't want physical work. They'd rather do something that's more mental, you know.
Not everyone goes for an easy job. Everyone wants to do what they want to do. If it's easier or if it's harder, it depends. It's what people want to do.
I think people just do what they like more, because it used to be like you were kind of told what you had to do, but now it's not really like that. You have more choice in what you want to do.
Yeah.
Now I feel in lots of jobs you're really taken advantage of, and the fact that you're on call 24/7 really with email and everything now, I think it must be hard to switch off from your work now.